Hey guys, welcome back to some Battlefield 4. Now I've been playing a lot of this since the patch, and I have to say, I'm massively impressed. This game really does seem to be coming along now, and I definitely am not the only one that thinks that. At Battlefield, thanks a lot. Actually, everything is better. At Battlefield, I love you guys so much now. I'm actually really impressed with the Battlefield update. At Battlefield, loving Battlefield 4 after the last update. Wish you guys did that from the start. Gameplay's so much better. Played me some Battlefield 4 last night after a long hiatus. Plays awesome after the update. #nice. So, as you can see, a lot of people are now enjoying the game. But of course, with a lot of updates and patches come a lot of changes, especially to the weapons. We have seen some monumental changes to practically every single weapon in the game. But not only the weapons themselves, also the attachments like the sights, the grips, the suppressors. So now, we see some weapons that may have been not so good before the patch becoming pretty good weapons, and also some good weapons that are no longer as good as they used to be. So today, we're going to go through some of the weapons that I've noticed since the patch that have definitely become worth your time. So the first weapon that I want to talk to you guys about, which is of course the weapon in my hand here, the aek-971, was one of my favourite weapons from Battlefield 3. It was arguably one of the only real competitors for the M16A3. Both these weapons were the god guns that battled it out throughout the entirety of BF3. Now arguably it didn't have the same kind of accuracy at range because of course it had a lot more recoil, a faster rate of fire, but it was still a very deadly piece of kit. So when Battlefield 4 was released, this of course was a weapon I was very much looking forward to using. But I've got to say, initially I wasn't very impressed. The rate of fire and accuracy at range on this thing was practically unusable, trying to take out targets more than maybe 15 to 20 meters away. It had some serious recoil issues. So basically this was a weapon I only ever used on very small maps like Operation Locker. Now since the patch, this weapon has seen a few different improvements for various different reasons. The first being we no longer see the visual recoil, so as well as the recoil of the weapon, we no longer have to deal with the random shaking of the sights of the weapon, which makes your shots obviously a lot less accurate. So with that removed, this obviously makes this weapon a lot easier to handle and makes it feel a lot more like the weapon we saw in Battlefield 3. I now found it much easier to take out targets maybe 30, 40, even 50 meters away relatively easily because we're no longer seeing that crazy random shaking of the sight when you're firing the weapon. Now as well as this, with a little bit of experimentation, I found that the angle foregrip for me personally seems to be the best grip to try and get a little bit further accuracy on this weapon. Of course that grip allows your first shot to be a lot more accurate, so if you are trying to take a couple of pot shots at a target maybe 60 or 70 meters away, you have a much better chance of taking him out. Now another reason that I think this weapon has become a lot better since the patch is the fact that most assault rifles have now seen a damage reduction of 1, which means now instead of doing 25 maximum damage, they're doing 24 maximum damage, which you may think doesn't make much of a difference, but it really does. At close range now, rather than taking 4 shots to kill a guy with 100% health, it now takes 5 shots, so a whole extra bullet to kill that player. Now the AEK has an insanely high rate of fire, so a weapon with a high rate of fire of course gets those 5 bullets out there much faster than a weapon with a slow rate of fire. So that extra bullet makes a big difference, so in close range, having a weapon that really does kick out a high rate of fire can make a massive difference. Now as well as this, I found putting a suppressor on this weapon and practically any assault rifle now at close range is basically a must. Whilst originally assault rifles just reduced the speed of the round a little bit, which is better than Battlefield 3, of course. In Battlefield 3, having a suppressor actually reduced the damage, which made them pretty useless at very close range. But of course in Battlefield 4 we just see it reduce the velocity of the round. But we've now seen that reduced further, which actually makes suppressors even better than they were before. So, for example, with the AEK, originally this weapon was firing 320 meters a second with a suppressor. That's now been up to 330 meters a second, which again is only 10 meters faster, so you would think that's not going to make a massive difference, but at very close range on maps like Metro and Locker, you'll be surprised actually how much difference this can make. Now as well as this, if you're looking for an assault rifle to use on maybe larger maps in games of Conquest Large, the SAR-21 has actually taken a buff to its recoil, so it now has even less recoil than it did initially. Now of course, this is one of the go-to long-range assault rifles initially already. It was one of the best long-range weapons you could use. So now have even less recoil makes his weapon pretty deadly at very, very long range. Although it has had a little bit of a nerf to its aiming down sight accuracy. But if you slap a heavy barrel on there, you're going to take out targets at a very long distance. So this weapon is definitely going to be one to look out for. Now, whilst not an individual weapon, the entire DMR class have seen a massive buff in this latest patch. Of course, designated marksman rifles are designed to take out targets at long distances, which, initially, they did do pretty well, but since the patch, they now have seen a massive buff to their bullet velocity, which means the bullets travelling faster from your gun to your target, which means you have an easier chance of hitting targets further away, and also will probably take them out a lot quicker. Now, whether or not this is good news, we're yet to find out. We're probably going to see a lot of players spamming the DMRs in the next couple of weeks. Now, I am a big fan of the DMRs. Originally, I wasn't, but I do like them now. I'm still grinding away, trying to unlock the Scar DMR, because that is just probably one of the best looking weapons in the game. So hopefully now with this increased velocity, that might be a little bit easier. So these are just some of the weapons and groups of weapons that I think have seen a massive improvement in the latest patch. The AEK for me is one of the most exciting ones because I loved this weapon in Battlefield 3. So to see it make a return a little bit better than it was originally is definitely a good thing. I have seen a hell of a lot of players starting to use it now, so it probably may become one of the god guns of Battlefield 4. But I want to hear from you down in the comments below. Which weapons have you seen a vast improvement since the patch? And if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like, it really does help me out. But in the meantime guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon!